Alright, so this is the first practice quiz of the year, and so problem number 1 asks us to find the limit numerically, which means I'm going to plug in some numbers that are less than -3 and some numbers that are bigger than -3. So I use -3.1, -3.01, and -3.001. And -2.99, -2.99, and -2.9 in order to figure out the answer. Of course, when I'm putting these numbers in, I make sure I put the numerator and the denominator in parentheses to give me what I need. So when I plug in -3.1, I got -0.0752, -0.0742, and -0.0741. -0.0741, -7.0739, and finally -0.0728. As we go towards the middle, the answer seems to be -0.0741. One B has the same problem, except for we're doing the limit as x approaches 8. So we're going to go to 7.9, 7.99, 8.001, 8.01, 8.1. Once again, make sure that you put parentheses around the whole thing. So the first one was 0.16713, 0.16671, 0.16667, 0.16666, 0.16662, and 0.16621. And as we get closer to the middle, there should be a decimal point in front of all these. It looks like it's getting close to 0.166, repeating, and so that would be my answer for number 2. For problem number 2, we're taking a look at the graph. We're trying to take the limit as x approaches -1, which goes right from there and goes there, and since those two did not meet, the limit as x approaches -1 does not exist because there's a jump there. Now the next problem in letter B says to find the limit as x approaches 1, and so that goes that way, and that goes that way, and they meet, and the y value that they meet at is 2. So the limit as x approaches 1 was equal to 2. Then it said, what is the limit as x approaches 2? And so this one goes down to there, and this one goes down to there, and so they meet. And so where do they meet when x approaches 2? The y value is 1. Okay, with any limit problem, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the 3. I got 8/3, and that's my answer. For letter B, when I have the limit as x approaches 4 of x plus 9 over 2x minus 8, I get 4 plus 9 over 2 times 4 minus 8, which is 13/0. which means that whenever we have a number divided by 0, the limit does not exist. For this particular problem, when I plug in 4, I get 4 squared minus 3 times 4 minus 4 over 4 squared minus 4 times 4, which gives me an answer of 0 over 0. At this point in time, I'm going to try and factor because it looks like one where I'm going to need to factor. So two numbers that multiply up to be negative 4 and add up to be negative 3 would be negative 4 and positive 1. On the bottom, they both have an x in common, so we factor out an x, and we have x minus 4. So now I'm going to take this 4 and plug it into both places. So I got 4 plus 1 divided by 4, which is 5/4. So when we try to take this limit, and I plug in this 9, I once again get 0 over 0. So what I want to do is I want to rationalize whichever section can be rationalized. Well, in this case, it is the numerator. So I'm going to multiply both sides by the square root of x plus 3 over the square root of x plus 3. So on the numerator, I'm going to multiply them together. The two middle terms are going to cancel out, so I just have to multiply x times x, or I'm sorry, the square root of x times the square root of x, and negative 3 times 3. On the bottom, I'm not going to multiply them because hopefully something is going to cancel out. And so we do wind up canceling out the x minus 9s. So when I plug in the 9 again, I get 1 over the square root of 9 plus 3, which means I get the answer of 1/6. That was letter D, not letter C. Alright, so I plug in the x equals 0, and I'm going to wind up with 0 over 0. And this time I want to get a common denominator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply that up there and that up there. So we're going to wind up with 4 minus, in parentheses, x plus 4 over 4 times x plus 4. Then I'm going to, since we're dividing by x, that is the same thing as multiplying by 1 over x. In doing so, I wind up with negative x over 4 times x plus 4 times 1 over x. The x's cancel, and so when I finally simplify this, I got negative 1 over 4 times x plus 4. Plug in the 0, and I get negative 1 over 4, 0 plus 4, which is negative 1 over 16. No. Alright, so to simplify this one, we're going to do the FOIL. And when I do FOIL, I wind up with x squared plus 2x delta x plus delta x squared. Distribute the negative 5. And distribute the negative sign. So that becomes plus 5x minus 4 all over delta x. The x squareds cancel. The negative 5x and positive 5x cancel. The positive 4 and the negative 4 cancel. So we are left with 2x delta x plus delta x squared minus 5 delta x divided by delta x. At this point, all of them have a delta x in common, so we're going to get rid of 1. And so I am left with 2x plus delta x minus 5, except for the delta x becomes a 0, so I'm left with 2x minus 5 as my answer. In letter G, we once again have 0 over 0. And since we have sine of 5x, I need a 5x on the bottom. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. So I got 5 sine of 5x over 2 times 5x. The 5x and the sine 5x, the limit goes to 1. So I'm left with the answer of 5/2. For the last problem, I'm left with f of 3 equals 5, so I'm going to put a point at 3, 5. And I'm told that the limit as x approaches 3 is at -1. So that means that 3, -1, I have a hole here where that's going out in that direction. The limit as x approaches -1 is at 4. So I'm probably going to have that, except for the limit as -1 is undefined. So I'm going to have this make a sharp turn up, and then the graph can do whatever it wants to at the end. And there is my graph for number 4. Please email me any questions that you have. I can do more examples if you need it.